One of the number one issues that I see in my coaching practice is not feeling good enough, like you're not enough. So today I have points that I want to run through as to why you're feeling that way. We're going to run through how to change that mindset and where to go in the future. Hey, welcome to episode 1 of the Man Within podcast, where we talk about everything to do with personal development, masculinity, getting in touch with your roots, your masculine nature, unleashing your full potential, getting aligned mentally, physically, spiritually, and the bottom line, unleashing the man within. My name is Cameron. I'm the founder and creator of The Man Within. So today we're going to talk about our mindset change. And one of the root problems that exist when it comes to negative beliefs is simply not believing like you're good enough. And that's something that I've struggled with, just being completely unworthy and just not being good enough. That's what a lot of our negative beliefs come down to, is that you don't deserve it. And you're not good enough. You're not the right person to do it. What you want to do is stupid. And this is all nonsense. Let me just be clear and upfront that you believing that you're not simply good enough, either for someone else or to do something, or good enough for yourself, that is complete nonsense. It's not true at all. It couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, you have a very important divine purpose from God on this earth. Your divine purpose is what you are passionate about. You were placed on this earth for a reason. You love what you love because that's who makes you you. There's a reason you don't love the things that everyone else do. It's not natural to try to be like everyone else. You are the main character in your own story. You are the hero in your story. So I want to talk about this negative belief, why you think you're not good enough, and dissect why that's not true. I'm going to do this in 6 installments. Today we're just going to have time for 1. And that first point as to why you might believe you're not good enough is because these beliefs originate externally, but they're perpetuated internally. Meaning someone did or said something to you that implanted a negative beliefs, or an event happened, or maybe it was a succession of failures that happened that led you to believe that you're simply not good enough. So think about things that you've been telling yourself. What are some excuses? You're not good enough. Your plan is stupid. You're not the right person. After years of telling yourself these things, that is what your body believes. It gets implanted back into your subconscious mind. I've been through a lot of internal mental battles in my life, and the whole reason I'm doing this podcast is to help people understand their roots, their nature, get in touch with who they really are, because there is so much within us. And one of the saddest things to see is people not understanding who they really are, never finding that real person, not being friends with themselves, not loving themselves. And one of the most fulfilling thing about my coaching practice, I do life and transformational coaching through a masculine perspective, but one of the most fulfilling things about this career is introducing people to themselves. It's amazing what happens. It's amazing what people will tell themselves because someone else told them something, or something happened, or maybe they failed once or twice, maybe 1,000 times. And I bought into the beliefs that other people put on me. And that's one of the points that I want to make today, is shedding the beliefs that someone else made for you and implementing the new powerful beliefs that are real and true and meaningful to you. You know, when was the last time you got excited about something? When was the last time you got in touch with your childlike spirit and excitement? When was the last time you just woke up and loved yourself and loved your life? Well, if the answer to those questions is, I don't know, first of all, that's completely fine. I've been there. But second of all, we're going to find that excitement together. We're going to find what gives you passion. We're going to ignite that fire, because a big fire gets started with a small spark. So what we're going to do today is introduce you to a new way of thinking. Like I said, we're going to introduce you to yourself. But in order to do that, in order to change anything and everything about your life, we need to rewire your mindset. We are creatures of repetition. It doesn't matter if it's real or true or false. Whatever gets repeated the most is what gets embedded in our brain, and our body is always going to act in accordance with what it believes. That's how our brain works. Our brain has a circuit of brain cells called neurons, and every time you do an action or you think of a thought, certain neurons get stimulated, they get activated, and the more your certain neurons get activated, the more they get embedded, and that's how we learn. So imagine something like walking. Well, the first time you did it, it didn't make sense, and now you don't have to think twice about it. Those neurons are stimulated all the time, every single day. But what about the neurons that are associated with a different thought? The way to get through that, to improve it, is to let go of what's there and replace it with something that's more empowering. We're creatures of repetition and habit, but also our brain can only process so much information at once. So what's the point of holding on to this false, this bad, this negative information that didn't even start with us? We always have control of ourselves and our brain and what we think about. We always have the control to give ourselves empowering beliefs. We don't have to believe something because someone else said it to us. We don't have to believe what society believes that a man should be, or that you should be doing what they're telling you to do. At any given moment in your life, you have the control to tell yourself an empowering belief. Yes, I love myself. Yes, I can do that thing. Yes, I am the right person to do that thing. In fact, I'm the only one, and I'm the best. At any moment in time, you have the control to do that. The reason why you're hesitant, the reason why it doesn't feel natural to tell yourself these empowering beliefs is because we are creatures of repetition. This feels unnatural to us because we've been repeating the negative beliefs for so long. We're learning a new thing. It's a new skill. Loving ourselves is a new skill. And I know that sounds weird, but truly loving yourself, there's no room for negative beliefs in that. It's not natural to believe that you can't do something. It's not natural to refrain from loving what you love. It's not natural to be ashamed of that. Do you really believe that you are the best at doing what you're doing? Do you really believe that you love yourself? Do you really believe that you can accomplish anything? And the answer to those questions should all be yes, because you can accomplish what you set out to achieve. That's what makes humans so beautiful, is that we all have different interests. We all have different loves. We all want to do something different. We all have different callings. And as humans, we weren't meant to be alone. All of our strengths complement each other. What I'm good at, you might not be good at. And what you're really good at, I probably am very weak in. There's a reason that you don't want your accountant to make you dinner. There's a reason that you don't want a chef to do your accounting. One of the biggest problems I see with negative beliefs is that people are ashamed of loving what they love, and they don't think that they're the person to do that. They don't think that what they love has any significance, but that couldn't be any farther from the truth. We all have a different calling for a reason. Don't worry about what society says is important. I don't believe that an accountant is more important than a painter. I don't believe that what you love and what you're passionate about has no significance, because the truth is we all have a divine purpose. And you look at the people who are number one in their fields or their professions, those are the ones who are pursuing what they love. Those are the ones who are the most passionate about it. And one of the things that I want to help you do is find what you're passionate about. If you already know what you love, we're going to ignite that fire. We're going to unleash who you truly are so you can pursue that fully, passionately. A lot of people think or honestly, I should say everyone has excuses as to why they can't do something. Oh, what are they going to think of me? Or I don't have time, I don't have money. Whatever it is, these excuses are placed on you by something or someone else. What we need to do is get you back in touch with your roots, who you really are. Find that excitement, that childlike wonder, that creativity. When was the last time you were really just outwardly creative? When was the last time you had a moment to yourself and meditated on what you really wanted? When was the last time you felt like you could really achieve anything? That's the person who you really are. So I want you to take a few minutes today, even if it's only 5 minutes, meditate on that. Get creative. Find what it is that you really love to do. And maybe even take a minute to think why you want to do that thing. Speaking of what you love, can you remember what it is that you love? Can you think of what you love to do? Picture your perfect vacation. Picture your perfect day off. Where do you go? What do you do? Why do you do those things? What are you being called towards? Can you think of the last time you got excited about something? Spend time thinking about that thing, because that shows who you really are. Being uncomfortable says a lot about you, but what gets you excited says a lot about you as well. What you love says a lot about you. If you can find what makes you excited, you can find the real you. The real you never ages away. The real you is always excited and passionate about the thing that you love. The real you will always be there, no matter how bad it gets, no matter how many negative beliefs you have. They'll always be there just waiting for you to let them out. If you're having trouble trying to think of something that makes you excited, go do something new. Challenge yourself. Feel the excitement and the rush of trying something new, of a new challenge. And if you don't think you fit in, then think outside the box or create a new one. Did you have something that you believed in? Do you currently believe in something that you really want to pursue? When you were younger, did you have something that you were passionate about, that you really believed in? Do you currently have something like that? Did you let that dream die, or did someone else let that dream die for you? Take a minute to think about those excuses or obstacles that you claim are getting in your way, that make it impossible for you to do it. What excuses have you made to not pursue that thing? You say that reality caught up with you, but the reality is you can take control of your life whenever you want to. You can change whenever you want to. You can make your life look the way you want it to as soon as you're ready to make that change. And the longer you put your goals on hold, the less likely you are to ever achieve them, and the more likely your brain will believe that you can't ever achieve them. And you are what you believe, and you are what you tell yourself. And you show the world what you hold inside. Now, it may not be fair that someone did or said something to you. It may not be fair that you failed. It may not be fair that society wants to put you inside a box. But you know what else isn't fair? You repeating the things that they've said to you that aren't fair. It's not true. It's not fair for you to continue to hurt yourself. You know, it's like, imagine you're sitting there hitting yourself in the head and you're trying to figure out why your head hurts. It's as if you're sitting there hitting yourself. It's not fair that these negative beliefs have been placed upon you, but it's also not fair that you should repeat them and perpetuate them and continue to hurt yourself. What you're doing right now is you're hitting yourself in the head, wondering why your head hurts, and trying to find every excuse as to why your head hurts, other than just stop hitting yourself. It's not fair that these beliefs have been placed on you, and it may not be fair that you are the one responsible for fixing it, but that's life, and life isn't fair, and that's part of our freedom. That's part of the human experience. It's that life is sometimes unpredictable and it's not fair. But now you know the answer. Now you know what is real. Now you have those tools and the strength and the power to control those beliefs. And now it 100% is your responsibility. I like what Jocko Willink says in Extreme Ownership. You need to take responsibility for 100% of your life, everything you get, do, and say. Take responsibility, because for one thing, discipline is freedom, but taking responsibility for everything gives you control of everything. It gives you the power to change everything. You can change the way you think. You can change the way you talk. You can change the way you use and move your body. And when you do that, you change the things around you. And if we're going to change, we're going to change for the better. And a big part of change is shifting your environment, doing something you've never done. If you want something you've never had, you need to do something you've never done. And that means you need to fail. The number one reason people don't start something is the fear of failure. And maybe your belief as to why you think you're not good enough stemmed from failure. And if you failed, so what? If you failed 1,000 times, so what? That's how you get better. You can't expect to win 100% of the time. And if you are winning at everything you try 100% of the time, chances are it's too easy for you and you're not growing. But if you want to get over this fear of failure, what you can do is adopt a win or learn mindset. That way it's a win-win in every situation, because if you win, well, you know what it took to win. But if you lose, you know what you have to change in order to win. And the more time you lose, the more time you learn. The more you learn, the more knowledge you get. And knowledge is power. Knowledge is value. And this knowledge is experience. Whose opinion would you value more? The person who failed 10 times or the person that failed 1,000 times? And you can definitely learn from other people's failures, but at the end of the day, they're not going to do the work for you. I can give you an exact formula as to how to start a billion-dollar company. That doesn't mean you're not going to fail a few times along the way, even if you had the perfect formula. And I want you to understand that if you fail, even if you failed 1,000 times, that does not make you a failure. In fact, it takes a winner's mindset to make themselves vulnerable and get out and try. And that's where this win or learn mindset comes into play. This win or learn mindset allows us to escape fear and put ourselves in uncomfortable situations. And we learn the most about ourselves in uncomfortable situations. What do you do when you're faced with adversity? What do you do when you're vulnerable? And being in these uncomfortable situations says the most about you. What do you do when you face adversity? What do you do in the face of fear? These uncomfortable situations make you vulnerable. You had the courage to risk losing a little pride. You had the courage and bravery to get out there and make yourself vulnerable. And this is exactly the time when other people and your negative beliefs are searching for a weak spot, but you're not going to give them one. In fact, you're going to give them something new to talk about. You're going to show them the real you. You're going to give them a new reputation that says you don't cower behind fear. You stand strong. You're courageous. You do what you believe in. And nothing and no one is going to stop you. You're going to pursue forward at all costs. You're the man who's not ashamed to go for what he loves. If you're ashamed or embarrassed for loving what you love, is that a belief that you have, or is that a belief that someone else had? Most of those negative beliefs about ourselves or what we love originated from people who were too afraid to try something different. They were too afraid to go off on their own. Take a moment to think about the type of people who told you you couldn't do something. What are they doing? People who are doing better than you in life are never going to cut you down. It's only the people who think that you are doing better than them. This belief that they put on you, that you're not good enough, that does not exist anymore. That's not who you are. The person who you are now welcomes failure. They welcome discomfort. This person who you are now understands that failure and vulnerability and risk are all part of the process for growth and success. And challenge is welcomed. We all have a mark to make on this world. And yes, it is important. Yes, it is divine. And you pursuing what you love, you loving what you love, you being the only person who wants to pursue that passionately, that is a big deal. That's a big responsibility. That's a very big role to play. That makes you way more than enough. And you might not realize it, but what you hold in your mind and in your heart is what you produce to the rest of the world. It shows up in your demeanor, it shows up in your mood, it shows up at work, it shows up in the way you speak, the way you interact, your relationships. It shows up when you walk into a room. What's your demeanor? What's your mood? Everything you do is affecting the world around you, how you do it. And it all starts with what you believe, what you hold in your heart. So the next time you start thinking about you're not enough, think about how you not pursuing what you love is actually affecting those around you. the people you're not inspiring, the people you're not positively impacting? What does your life look like if you never find yourself? If you never love yourself, if you never pursue what you love? We all have a divine purpose for being on this earth. All of our strengths, weaknesses, they complement each other. We fit in perfectly as long as you are pursuing what you love. And you shouldn't be thinking about how doing what you love might impact others. Think about how not doing what you love is impacting others. You have a duty, a responsibility to pursue your purpose, and your purpose is aligned with what you love. You loving that thing and pursuing it 100% passionately makes you far more than enough. We all have a mark to make on this world. And yes, it is important. Yes, it is divine. And you pursuing what you love, you loving what you love, you being the only person who loves that thing, you being the only person who wants to pursue that passionately, that is a big deal. That's a big responsibility. That's a very big role to play. That makes you way more than enough. So I hope this helps you think a little bit differently, put things into a new perspective, that not only are you enough, but you're more than enough, and you are very important. Your existence on this earth has very significant meaning, and our purpose is to give life meaning. One of the main purposes of our existence is to leave the world a better place than how we found it. And the way that we do that is by spreading love. You can't make more good by spreading bad. You can't make more good by continuing to spread and perpetuate those negative beliefs that have been placed on you. The way that we spread more good is to be good to ourselves, love ourselves, and spread love by pursuing what we love. This has been the first episode of the Man Within podcast. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what more you want to hear, and I'll see you on the next one.